My 39F partner, 39M, of 6 months, he doesn't want to be there when our child is born. Just to be clear, I am using a throwaway. My partner Richard and I have been together for 6 months. But we've known each other for over 30 years. We are from the same small town and grew up together. We have lived together almost from the beginning of our relationship. I found out I was pregnant about a month ago. I'm currently about 10 weeks pregnant. This is my first pregnancy ever. It's also a first for my partner. Richard was absolutely over the moon when he found out I was pregnant. He has expressed nothing but the utmost excitement about having a baby with me and about being a dad. He has shown me a ton of support, taken care of me through morning sickness, gone with me to doctor's appointments and gone out of his way to show me love and tenderness. Furthermore, we have discussed future baby-related plans extensively, from planning the pregnancy to planning how to raise our future child. So far, we've easily agreed on most things, which is one reason I was not expecting this. I expressed that I want to give birth in a hospital. He expressed enthusiastic agreement. Then, as we were discussing the details, he mentioned that he did not want to be in the delivery room with me when I gave birth. He cited his squeamishness around blood, medical matters. To be fair, I took health class with him in high school and have seen him faint at the sight of blood. So this isn't something he just made up. He also expressed there wouldn't be anything for him to do and that he would essentially just get in the way. At first, I was taken aback. What kind of father doesn't want to be there for the birth of his child? Or to support the mother of his child? Then I reconsidered. I know the standard of fathers being in the delivery room is a fairly recent thing. My grandfathers weren't there when my parents were born, but it doesn't mean they weren't supportive. I can just have one of my close friends there, etc., etc. Yet, the more I thought about it in the following days, the more I felt like I was making excuses for him, and that I didn't like his reasons for not wanting to be there. We ended up having an argument about it, during which he further expressed that, maybe, he could be there, but that he didn't understand why I even needed anyone there with me. He said whenever he's been in the hospital, the support of the doctors was enough and he didn't need friends with him in the OR, so why was this different? I was at a loss that I should even have to explain this to anyone. I feel conflicted all over the place about this. I sure don't want to drag him to the delivery room with me. There's nothing worse than trying to force someone to support you by being somewhere they don't want to be. I also know my feelings have been running high since I got pregnant and I don't want to fly off the handle over something that isn't really a problem. Yet, I can't stop feeling a persistent sense of sadness, anger, and disappointment that he doesn't want to deal with his discomfort to be there with me while I give birth to our child. Should I tell him I expect him to be there? Or should I let this one go since he is otherwise so supportive? TLDR. Partner doesn't want to be in the delivery room with me while I give birth to our baby because blood, medical issues make him squeamish. Should I tell him he has to be there or let it go? He can be up by your head, seated in a chair. It's completely understandable why you want him by your side, and I get that it's scary to observe. He's actually fainted at the sight of blood before, and he may have significant anxiety about it. The recency of fathers attending the birth is irrelevant. This is about you going through a significant medical experience. Talk to your OBGYN. He's not the first squeamish husband and he won't be the last. He sincerely may not know what he's supposed to do aside from getting in the way. And your OBGYN should have some resources aimed toward dads. He may be genuinely afraid he'll faint and ruin your birth experience. My husband is very squeamish about blood and bodily fluids as well. And thankfully I already knew what to expect when he and I had our first child. It is messy and super gross. I don't understand why some people romanticize birth, knowing my husband's aversion to such things. I told him from the beginning he should not watch. So he stood at my head, facing the wall. He did not hold a leg or watch. He held my hand silently. He did not cut the cord. When he did turn around to see our child, he got extremely woozy at the bloody scene. He actually had to leave and go outside for fresh air and to pull himself together. I suggest getting a doula now. You will get to know her throughout your pregnancy, and she will provide the amazing support you'll need. This is something you should look up and watch. If he cannot handle it, he cannot handle it. My husband is an amazing father. He was 100% hands-on with everything when our child was a baby. And still is. There's a few things in the mix here. The first is he's squeamish, not sure how he can help during delivery. Taking a birthing class together, especially one that includes breathing tactics and massage partners, can help with is helpful during pre-hospital laboring, can give him a role. Early labor is actually where I needed my husband most, as once I had an epidural and my birth team there. He was there and supportive holding stuff, but I was so much in a zone things were a blur and he became like one of the medical team in the room, which was a good thing. I'd probably prefer in that moment someone not be in the room if they were on the verge of fainting or were stressing me out. Putting together a birth plan might also help you both figure out the plan that works for you both. Perhaps he's there for all the pre-delivery support. Then a hired doula is there for active labor. Then he's back to support immediately after birth. Or he has a chair to sit on and has full ability to step out if he gets overwhelmed. The second one is how he's expressing that he doesn't understand why you need support. And the fact it's a new relationship and you haven't had a big fight yet. I'm sure those are compounding your stress. Hopefully you'll be able to communicate and work through this and continue to build on your relationship once baby makes their arrival. Good luck. Hire a doula. You deserve to feel supported during this vulnerable time for you. If he faints at the sight of blood, there's no dealing with his discomfort. He's a liability being in that room. He is only going to make things worse. Don't have him in there. Why can't you guys compromise? He can stay at the head of your bed the whole time and stay seated. If he's really uncomfortable, he can leave the room when it's time to push. Just make sure you also have another support person who can stay with you while you are actively pushing. If you know he has a vasovagal response to the sight of blood, insisting he be there anyway is a pretty bad idea. There's a non-trivial chance he's going to end up with a head injury. Maybe even a permanent one. If he passes out and hits the concrete hospital floor. Despite what you see on TV, uncontrolled falls are no joke. On the other hand, there's often a pretty fair chunk of time before the messy part starts. He ought to be able to be there to support and comfort you for the first few hours. Just don't hold it against him if he gets hustled out well in advance of the high activity phase. Explain to him that every time he's ever been in the hospital, he has only had things done to him. He was a passive participant when doctors were working on him. He was just the body they worked on. Labor is completely different because you have to do the thing. You have a very active, difficult role in birthing a human. You won't be laying on a bed having things done to you to suck the baby out. You have to put in a lot of effort, so of course you want someone to support you. Maybe he just doesn't realize how difficult birth can be. Look into childbirth courses directed at fathers so he can learn how to play a role in your birth. He might just have no idea what he's supposed to do other than sit there and wait and watch TV. Help him learn how you want to be supported. Male here. I was present for support and to experience the birth of my first child, and ended up getting highly involved with the actual delivery. Things went south for a few minutes very quickly and they needed an extra set of hands ASAP. All to say, your health and the baby's health are important, and every medical professional will need to and should prioritize the two of you. If I had fainted at that moment, I would have risked the livelihood of two others. There will be blood and likely other bodily fluids, etc. If he passes out, it will increase the risks for everyone involved. Sounds like being there until things get really going, and going to the waiting area is the move. Here, everyone recounting their birthing experiences of blood and gore and fainting husbands is missing the point. He doesn't think she needs support during labor and delivery. Has this man never seen a movie with a childbirth scene? Has he never spoken to a friend about their L&D experience? Has he never heard a woman speak about childbirth in his life? Has he never read a single article, essay, or novel by a woman discussing L&D? Is he blithely ignorant of widely publicized data on maternal mortality and its causes? Is he completely oblivious to the lives and experiences of women? I find it deeply disturbing that this man has never paid enough attention to women in his 39 years on this earth to know that childbirth isn't like outpatient surgery in the OR. My partner is squeamish with blood too. Supported me up by my head, holding my hand, gently stroking my hair, telling me I'm doing a great job and how amazing I am doing. A partner who doesn't want to be there because there's nothing for him to do is not a good enough excuse. What if you need an emergency C-section or other emergency medical intervention? He needs to be there because birth can be scary and traumatizing, and even if he looks away at the bloody bits, you need moral, emotional support. Giving birth isn't the same as being in the hospital for some other reason. It's an incredible physical, emotional, hormonal shift. I can't imagine doing it alone. Good luck. He can stand by your head and look at your face, giving you words of encouragement and affirmation. And if he faints, he wouldn't be the first man to do so in the delivery room. Oh, I didn't realize he's been to the hospital before to push out a human child and didn't need any moral support that wasn't from medical professionals. Sorry, but this isn't about him. It's about you. I'd be furious if my husband prefer I'd be alone with other strangers. Yeah, they're trained, but they aren't my advocate. He is. Trust me. The last thing you want in the delivery room is him fainting and your medical team having to divide its attention. You are not going to have any bandwidth to help him through his squeamishness. And you'd be much better off with a birthing partner who is actually capable of supporting you than one you will have to support. So good on how supportive it seems your partner has been on everything else. Please try your best not to blow it by demanding he do something he physically and mentally can't. And your delivery team very likely won't be able to help him if he passes out or starts vomiting. Neither of those things are a little discomfort. We are all not cut out to be involved remotely in medical procedures, which is what delivering a baby vaginally or by C-section is. My first time was helping when my sister delivered my niece. My Bill is a big manly man. Yeah, I know. And while he can take a lot, he absolutely can't deal with being with someone being in pain when he can't fix it. So he was in the room with my sister until things got to the point of active labor before the epidural, and then we swapped out. Win for both of us, as he was there to support my sister until he couldn't, then I was there for the rest, and he was the second person to hold my niece after my sister, which was to me the perfect way to handle. Maybe he could consider a tag team approach? If not, please grant him some grace rather than feeling like he's just being selfish, as that doesn't sound like the case. To be fair, I took health class with him in high school and have seen him faint at the sight of blood. So this isn't something he just made up. I mean, is there anything else to say? Do you want him to pass out? This is really interesting. Because usually men have an issue understanding that the birth of their child is an actual medical procedure, event that is happening to just the woman giving birth. Like for example, they think they can invite their own mother into the delivery room, not understanding that the only person who should get to decide something like that is the person actually having the medical procedure, event. But here, the guy is so focused on how it is just simply a medical procedure, event that he's completely removed all of the emotional context. Yes, it is a medical event. But you don't want him there because he has medical skills and can step in and do something medically if something goes wrong. You want him there because you are pushing his child out of your vagina. You are not just having a medical event. You're having a human being that you created with this man, and you want him, completely understandably, there to emotionally support you and see your child together for the very first time. I'm not really sure what to advise here. Does he have friends with kids? Could he maybe talk to some of the fathers he knows about how happy they are that they were there when their child was born? What about his own parents? Could his mom talk to him? Try to explain how important it is that he's there if he's physically and logistically able to be there. Maybe see if he is okay with being in the room at the beginning until things start getting messy. I worked in a major hospital, and anytime someone asked for a support person during procedures, we always cited our one patient policy. If your support person might also become a patient due to passing out and injuring themselves, then they're not a good person to be around during the birth of your child. After my baby was born, I started bleeding out. He came out not breathing. 2 patients. I'm not sure what either of our outcomes would have been if my husband also passed out and cracked his head on something at the same time. Are you getting an elective C-section? Because that's the only scenario in which him comparing it to an operation and being able to do it on your own is even remotely applicable. He is an asshole if he thinks the pain of labor and delivery is comparable to anything he ever went through. I would be livid if my partner wasn't there for the hours and hours in labor. If he really needs to be there for the last part where it gets bloody is up for debate. Get a doula. You will need support. I'm really not sure how I would ever get over the fact that he refuses to be there for me. I wouldn't get over it. I think this would be it. My contempt for him being weak, selfish and a lame utter disappointment would eat away at me until I leave his useless ass. He doesn't need to see anything. He should be desperately trying to find a solution how he could be there for you, instead of peace out. You can't handle this in your own right. Bye. Dear Lord. Almost from the beginning of our relationship. Wow. Planning the pregnancy. Y'all move fast. Why I even needed anyone there with me. Has he never known anyone that had a baby before? I think the majority have someone with them. That's why couples go to Lamaze SP classes together. He didn't need friends with him in the OR, so why was this different? He hasn't had a baby lol nor a woman. We're very different. I prefer PPL there with me. Feel cared for. Really a problem. I don't think there would be many moms that it wouldn't be one. He doesn't want to deal with his discomfort to be there with me while I give birth to our child. You will have much more discomfort. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why women are the ones that are tasked to birth the kids. Lol. I tell him I expect him to be there. I would.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.